I wanted to talk more about the idea about being a single or being a loner. It's like friends, people don't want to be bothered with people that have no friends or social life. Just like companies and businesses and jobs won't be interested in you if you don't have, if you're not working. Like, I mean, it's kind of goes both hand in hand. It's amazing how social status and social value is similar to a relationship or people that are in a relationship, because companies don't want to be bothered by losers, or if your credit score is low, or if you're on hard times. Just like if you're single, if you have a network of friends, then you stand a bigger chance of being well received by other females, because they already know that you have value and you're trustworthy or whatever, and your social status is good, and other people like to see it like that. They don't want to see a helpless person, or a person that's a hopeless romantic. And now I found out that I was just looking it up, that being single is considered a disability. It's called infertility. Being infertile, I think that's how you pronounce it. So I guess the law just passed less than a month ago. I guess they're passing a law, whereas if you want to have a family, if you want to have children, but yet you're single and you can't have sex, it applies to gays, lesbians, and heterosexuals and homosexuals and all that. Like I guess that now being single is can be considered a disability. So I probably deserve some money then, because I certainly am disabled. I went to disability school when I was a kid in the early 90s. I went to occupational therapy when I was a kid. I had a psychological evaluation claiming my IQ was very low. I couldn't function in a classroom with average or regular students or kids. So they put me in special classes. I went to private schools all my life, never went to public schools. I never had friends in high school. I had one friend in elementary school, but it was years ago, in the early 80s or mid 80s, early to mid 80s. And come to find out just a year ago, last time I talked to him was over 23 years ago. But I come to find out a year or two ago, I just happened to find him on Facebook, and it turns out that he actually married a man. He's gay. But of course, I was a child back when I was best friends with him. But of course, at the time, I didn't know that. That was way back then. But then up until recently, I just found that out. So I'm like, fuck, how much crazier can shit get? So I just found that out. And then to add insult to injury, I was bullied and learning disabled school. I never had friends I could just have a good time with. I had a friend I used to sort of talk to. We used to fantasize about making video games back then on the school bus. But more or less, I was bullied and harassed all my life in school, all throughout my grade school years. Horrible environments, people bullying me, but so yeah, I just went to private schools all my life, never had any people that I enjoyed being around. I was a social outcast all my life. I went, I'm trying to think, like after private school, I went on to a Jewish private school. I felt terrible there. Like, I felt like a complete outcast. Like, I sat all by myself every day at lunch through my sophomore to senior year. My graduating class was less than 14 kids in the class when I graduated high school, 97. I went to community college in January of 98, less than a year after I completed high school. Horrible time in there. I went there from 98 to 2002 at the community college. Got a dental technology certificate to make dentures. I never had a college degree in my life. I never got a degree. Just some college is the most I ever did with my education. The classes were modified in college because of my learning disabilities. I took pre-algebra. That was like my first class in community college, very basic math course. I took psychology, culture diversity. Computer was so hard for me. Never had a girlfriend in college or high school, and it was very depressing. I was totally lonely in high school and community college, and it sucked for me. Both high school and community college just sucked for me. And here it is now. All these years later, I still owe college money, the same college. It's like, fuck. So I'm just fucked across the board, I guess. I dropped out of high school or college. I dropped out of my program in college in 2009. I got out of the military. I did less than a year in the military in the Army. I got an honorable discharge. I got out in April of '06. Filed bankruptcy in, I think it was '09. Lost my car, got repo, dropped off at the bank, and then everything. Shit hit the fan. I just can't, win for lose. So then to this day now I'm struggling. Still, saga continues. Yeah. Can't really say anything positive. Nothing really positive ever happened to me in my life. I've never had a house in my life. My credit's always been messed up. I only had one credit card in my entire life, and that was in the summer of 2006. And I bought a washer dryer with it and a Dell laptop, but that was short-lived. That's a year later, 2 years later, I lost everything. Lost my apartment, or less than that. That same year, I lost my apartment. In December of '06, I came back to the city, to this big city from where I was living. But I was living down near Cincinnati. I was making the most money I ever made in my life. I was making $500 a week, averaging. I did that for like 17 or 18 weeks until they let me go. Told me not to come back on a Monday. I'm like, fuck. I knew my life was fucked at that point. So I was forced to move back here in the summer, Christmas of 2006. So, man, I don't know. Oh, this video's long again. I just wanted just to tell you my story. It's partially some of my story in my life. There's a lot more obvious, there's a ton more about myself. It's just I want to tell you some things. Oh well.